The biggest crash outs in NFL history. Big shout out to Red Zone for the video I'm about to react to. Let me know, do you think Antonio Brown and Tyreek Hill is going to be on this list? Over or under how many times, bro? Let's go ahead and get right into it, man.
These are the biggest crash outs
in
NFL history.
Oh, damn. Oh, hold on. Wait, this is actually crazy.
And because one defensive end's crash out almost put someone in the hospital. In 2019, as the Browns vs. Steelers game was coming to a close, defensive end Myles Garrett decided he was not going down without a fight. Literally. Because when Mason Rudolph dropped back, Myles Garrett went for one final sack. And after Rudolph dumped the ball, Garrett wrapped him up and took him to the turf. They started scrapping. Rudolph grabbed Garrett's helmet, and he took that way too personally. So he flipped the script, grabbed Rudolph's helmet, and swung that thing harder than Shohei Ohtani. And where did it land? Right into Rudolph's skull. Respect to Rudolph for just tanking that hit. Walking away with only a light concussion is a legit miracle. Whereas Garrett was not as lucky, because he got ejected, fined, and suspended indefinitely. And even though it should have ended there, Garrett needed to soften the heat. So he claimed the whole thing was caused by Rudolph calling him the N-word. Source? Trust me, bro. The NFL investigated, found zero audio evidence, and Garrett ended up just looking like a clown. But he wasn't new. But T.O. did something way more random when he lost it. After the Cowboys lost the playoff game to the Giants, Terrell Owens stepped up to the podium to take questions, which was already random, because the press expected Tony Romo to be the one there. See, everyone blamed Romo for the loss by using his bye week to take a vacation, so T.O. was there to set the record straight. But it definitely went a lot better in his head than whatever the hell this was.
You know, Tony, you guys can point the finger at him. You can talk about the vacation, and if you do that, it's really unfair. It's really unfair.
Damn, that boy, hey, respect.
It's my team. It's my quarterback.
My quarterback. Ah!
And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair. We lost as a team.
Like that. Man, what an iconic meme that came out of that crap.
Wow, I've never seen that meme before, but that's not a meme. That's real, bro. Like, come on, that's how I felt when I was playing in the IFL, bro. And anything happened to my boy TJ, like, real shit, bro. That's my quarterback, bro. Excuse my language, but like, when you playing football, bro, it's a real life brotherhood, bro.
But while he was cooking drama to help his career, Ndamukong Suh almost made a career-ending move when he lost his cool. When the Lions played the Packers on Thanksgiving, Suh got tangled up with Evan Dietrich Smith after a play. And instead of just standing up and walking away, Suh went into full assault mode. First, he pinned Smith's body to the turf. Then he shoves his helmet into the ground repeatedly. Apparently, that wasn't enough. So as the refs are rushing in, he winds up and tries to crush Smith's arm. Dude was seriously trying to assert some dominance. So the NFL asserted dominance over him. Instant ejection, 2-game suspension without pay. And they even fast-tracked the hearing so he couldn't suit up for the next week. Suh swears it was an accident. But unless he was really excited to stand up, that was definitely a dude crashing out for no reason. Whereas,
yo, it's so funny when these players try to tell people it was an accident when we clearly see it, bro. Like, yo, that was not an accident.
Kyle Turley definitely had one. And it was valid. Because when the Saints were playing the Jets in 2001, the Saints QB, Aaron Brooks, got tackled by Damian Robinson. And while most tackles end when the player goes down, Robinson tried to bring him back up by folding Brooks in half and tearing his face mask to a neck-breaking angle. And when Kyle Turley saw that move, he locked in.
Ooh. Yeah, let him know. Facts, because you bugging out. Yeah, beat him up.
He sprinted into the dog pile, wrestled Robinson, and straight up yanks Robinson's helmet
off,
and just fires it to the stratosphere right before flipping off the ref.
Yeah.
He got ejected pretty fast for that. He also had to take anger management classes and pay $25K in fines. But honestly,
I ain't gonna lie, bro. That was deserved, bro. He was bugging out.
Honestly, that was such a goated move, and the Saints barely even care. The same cannot be said about Andre Johnson, because when Cortland Finnegan and Andre Johnson met during the Texas Titans game in 2010, they already hated each other. So after 4 years of buildup, tensions were at a fever pitch, and they were at each other's throats on every play. Andre Johnson even told Cortland that he was going to tear his ass up.
Don't get frustrated. Come on, dog. You know I'm gonna tear your ass up. You know that.
Like
and after 3 quarters of back-and-forth insults and brutal hits, Andre Johnson just went off the rails. The second the ball snapped, Finnegan didn't even try to cover Johnson. He just went straight for his throat. Johnson responded by ripping off Finnegan's helmet. Finnegan then tears off Johnson. But that was the fatal move. Johnson was able to get behind him and just deliver a beatdown. Finnegan was acting way too cocky after getting up. Bro was
how you gonna get mollywopped and then clap after? I ain't gonna lie, bro. The only thing you need to be clapping is, all right, you know what? In the Bible, and I think it's 1 Corinthians, because I've been reading the Bible. It's 1 Corinthians. You shall not plot harm against thy neighbor. You know. Turn the other cheek, man. He did the right thing.
Literally on all fours, getting hit by the wrath of God. And even though they got ejected for it, Andre came out on top. But Andre wasn't the only one involved in NFL wars, because Albert Haynesworth basically started a war with his crash out. See, in 2006, the Titans were getting cooked by the Cowboys, and frustration among the Titans was through the roof. But then, in the middle of a routine play, that frustration turned into rage. Because when Dallas' center Andre Gerard ended up on the turf, and before Gerard could move, Haynesworth looked down, lined up his target, and brought his size 14 cleat down on Gerard's
wait,
skull.
I didn't even see it.
He caught him right up.
Wait, rewind. I didn't see that.
Lined up his target and brought his size 14 cleat down on Gerard's skull. He caught him right above the eye, slicing his face open. Blood went everywhere. Trainers rushed in, and Gerard needed 30 stitches to close it up. But here's where it gets a little psychotic. Upon watching the replay, the refs realized Haynesworth actually missed his first stomp and went back for another try. When they saw that, they didn't hesitate and threw him out of the game. Haynesworth even got pissed like he did nothing wrong, except casually trying to scalp another player. But his punishment didn't end there. He got hit with a 5-game suspension.
That's it? They should have threw that out for the season, boy. You tripping, dog. You could have poked his eye out. Now, listen, we humans. I know in the Bible would say, you know what I'm saying? Don't, but never mind, man. It's hard. See, being a human, it's hard, bro, because we got to fight these urges, bro. But like this right here, if somebody stomps me in the head, bro, it's like, fam, how am I not supposed to defend myself?
The highest ever at the time, and lost $200,000 from his salary. Good. That's actually insane behavior. With Ryan Leaf, it just came from one hilarious locker room moment, even though his entire career is hilarious. Because the moment he joined the Chargers, Ryan Leaf was a disaster. He skipped meetings, fought with coaches, and put up abysmal numbers on the scoreboard. But Leaf's most iconic moment came from a locker room crash out after a horrendous game. The man only completed one pass out of 15, and it was only for 4 yards. On top of that, he threw 2 interceptions and had 4 fumbles. Unsurprisingly, the Chiefs clapped his cheeks. So when Leaf went to the locker room, he was seething.
Don't talk to me, all right?
Ooh.
Knock it off!
Dude literally sounds like he's on the brink of tears. And to be fair, anyone would be pissed after a loss like that. But IK and Polly,
I ain't gonna lie, if he yelled at me like that, I'm not taking him serious. No disrespect.
He got pissed for a different kind of loss. During the Jets'
Leave me alone, kid!
2015 training camp, QB Geno Smith got into a fight with IK in the locker room. See, him and Polly bought Geno a plane ticket to a football camp in Texas, but Geno didn't go. And even though he promised to pay him and Polly back, he dodged a Venmo request for over 2 months. So when IK met him in the locker room, he demanded the payment. Geno said he'd get back to him, and an argument started. But as things really started to heat up, IK did something completely unexpected. He hauled back, wilded up a hook, and sucker punched Geno so hard, he broke his jaw. That is crazy punching power. IK was released on the spot, and Geno would take weeks to recover. But the craziest part? This wasn't over some Emirates Suite plane ticket. This all happened over $600. But not all crash outs are violent. Some are just straight up cringe. Like when Derek Anderson lost it during a post-game interview. When the Cardinals were getting blown off the face of the planet by the 49ers. Cameras caught quarterback Derek Anderson laughing on the sidelines. No big deal. It's what the average person would think. But when the game ended and the cameras swarmed Derek at the post-game, one reporter made the mistake of asking Derek what he was laughing about.
But why was something funny when you're down 18 points in the fourth quarter?
It wasn't funny. I wasn't laughing about anything.
The camera showed you laughing.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Coach
That's
Gruden
fine.
commented about it.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm not laughing about it. You think this is funny? I take the serious.
I'm not.
Real serious. I put my heart and soul into this every single week.
All I'm saying is the camera showed you.
I'm just telling you right now what I do every single week. Every single week, I put my freaking heart and soul into this. I study my ass off. I don't go out there and laugh. It's not funny. It's not fun. Nothing's funny to me. I don't want to go out there and get embarrassed on Monday Night Football in front of everybody.
That's why I'm asking you what.
I'm telling you right now, we're talking. Deuce and I are talking.
What was the context in
I'm done.
which?
Sorry.
If he said
That was the cringiest thing I've ever seen in my life, brother. Bro, you were laughing. Just admit it. Yo, bro, things happen, bro. Like, you could laugh, but you don't gotta lie and act like you weren't laughing, bro. They see you. That's the thing. These people keep lying. We're watching the game.
literally anything else, no one would have cared. But this dude turned a nothing moment into a public self-execution. No one has ever looked more guilty of laughing than this guy. Now look, there's a lot more crash outs coming up next. But first, we gotta talk about our sponsor, Huel. Because if you're any-
Oh, we don't, because they did not pay me for this, bro. So you bugging out. Word too. But hey, shout out to you. Get your bag, my boy. But they ain't brought nope.
However, when Barrett Robbins went off the rails, no one even noticed he crashed out. It was the week of Super Bowl 37, and the Raiders were locked in. Coaches were working around the clock, and players were laser focused. The energy was intense but electric. Every snap was analyzed, and every player went to every meeting. Well, almost every player. Because at some point, someone stood up, looked around, and asked, where the hell is Barrett? Barrett Robbins, if you didn't know, was the team's starting center. And hours before the Super Bowl, he was nowhere to be found.
What?
And wherever they thought he was, they probably would have never guessed Mexico. Yeah, it turned out that Barrett had spiraled into a full manic bipolar episode. And since he wasn't thinking clearly, he hallucinated that the Raiders already won the Super Bowl. So instead of prepping for the real thing, he hopped aboard at Tijuana and was partying like parade was tomorrow. He did miss the actual Super Bowl, but that must have been one hell of a celebration. But there's nothing to celebrate with this next crash out. This might be the most valid crash out in this.
Like, you can't even laugh about that. That's sad that people, that's real mental health issues, bro. Check on your mental health, man.
This entire video. And it all happened because of a 1 in a billion accident. See, in 1999, Browns were playing the Jags, and late in the first half, a ref threw a flag towards Orlando. But back then, flags weren't just cloth. They were weighted sacks of metal ball bearings to make the flag fly farther. And this flag didn't just land near Orlando. It went through the air, through the bars of his face mask, and hit him right in the eye. Orlando dropped immediately. And when the trainers saw the human freight train staying down, they knew something was up. So they rushed the field, helped him up, and started examining him on the sideline. But Orlando wanted payback, so he left the sideline, went right up to the ref, and gave him a light shove. And a light shove from a guy like this is like hitting an F1 car, so he just flattened the ref. Obviously, they had to eject him and suspend him indefinitely for that misconduct. But here's the thing. Brown's father went blind when he was younger, and when you couple those genes with an injury, you get an injury that's worse than anyone suspected. Even though he was suspended, he actually couldn't play if he wanted to, because he was legit losing his vision. He even had to sit out for the rest of the 99 and 2000 season from that injury. So honestly, respect the Brown for only shoving the ref. That one throw basically ruined his career. He ended up suing the NFL for $200 million, claiming negligence for using weighted flags. Eventually, they settled, and the NFL actually changed the way refs throw flags forever. But Vontaze Burfict and Pat—
That is so sad, bro. Every time I hear that story, it makes me sad. I'd never hear it, and I'm like, oh, I've seen this already, so I'm used to it. I'd never get used to that story. That is sad, bro.
Pac-Man Jones pulled a crash out that changed one man's life forever, because the Bengals were seconds away from breaking their decade-long playoff curse in 2016. Finally, a win in sight. But Vontaze Burfict, the dirtiest player in the league, ruined it all. With 20 seconds left, he lines up Antonio Brown and literally deletes him from existence. His helmet snaps back, and AB is out cold. The ref throws a flag, 15-yard penalty. Pretty painful in the playoffs, but still recoverable. Except—
Yo, by the way, I said if Tyreek or AB was gonna be on this list, and we haven't seen them yet, bro. I ain't gonna lie though. I don't think Tyreek and AB is that much of crash outs, bro. Honestly, I feel like they're kind of just misunderstood, but they're labeled as crash outs. So I thought they were gonna be all over this video, but that just goes to show, bro. Are they really crash outs? Are they probably not? Maybe y'all just, y'all thinking too hard, bro. They're not on the list so far.
As AB is laying on the ground rebuilding his consciousness, Pac-Man Jones decides to take this from a one-man crash out to a two-man. So he gets into it with some of the Steelers coaches on the field, shoves an official, and bang, another 15-yard penalty. Back-to-back 15-yard penalties from two guys that couldn't control their temper sends the Steelers straight to field goal range. They drain the kick and send the Bengals packing. The Bengals were literally 2 plays away from their first playoff win in 25 years, and instead, Burfict and Jones throw it all away for their 15 seconds of fame and leave AB's brain rewired forever, which might explain the years and years of crash outs that Antonio Brown has had. Because following the Steelers-Brown incident, his life fell off a cliff.
Damn.
He had a relatively uneventful 2017 season, but by 2018, things were already going downhill. He was causing tension with the Steelers organization, tossing furniture out of his 14th floor apartment, and was caught driving over 100 miles per hour on the highway. But somehow, by 2019, the Raiders still wanted to sign him. The Raiders management is clearly full of guys who never made it past the 6th grade, because signing AB was a disaster. In August, he suffered frostbite from a cryotherapy chamber, which made him skip practice. Then, when he returned, he refused to wear a league-approved helmet. He legit wanted to wear the same helmet he'd always worn and was ready to retire if he didn't get his way. Eventually, he calmed down and came back on the 12th after missing 2 full weeks. The next week, though, the NFL actually listened to him, so they gave him the year to phase out his old helmet. And even though that still pissed him off, the GM was basically like, either wear the damn helmet or you're gone. So he wore the helmet and then posted pictures of all the fines he received for missing practice in early August. But that wasn't all. He then went face to face with the GM at practice, cussed him out, called him a crap cracker and had to be held back by Vontaze Burfict. You literally
The same
can't
guy
make
that
this
hit
up.
him?
And the next
Wow.
day, he came back like nothing happened and then posted again, showing off his $215,000 fine for the GM incident. And in the same post, he begged to be released from the Raiders. They happily accepted. But for whatever down bad reason, the Patriots signed him the next day for $15 million. That's like losing your job at Starbucks and then getting hired by Amazon. But unfortunately for AB, there was another turnaround right after. Allegations. So the Patriots dumped him too. He bounced to the Bucs next, got to win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, and then, as he was riding that high, even more went wrong. In 2022, during a game with the Jets, he took his uniform off mid-game, jogged across the end zone, and straight up dipped.
Yo,
Bro
that's
took a
like
page
a
out of
crazy
Suh's book
moment in
and
history,
crashed
bro.
out for
That's
no
an
reason.
insane
But the
crash out,
final
bro.
nail in his coffin tempted. Seriously. In 2025, he was at a celebrity boxing event in Miami when a fight broke out.
Oh, that's
Ironic.
recent.
But AB, being who he is, decided to take it a little too far when he grabbed the security guard's. He fired 2 shots. One missed. One hit a guy's neck. And when the police
What?
recovered the shells, they charged him with attempted. But by that point, Brown was safe. Not because he turned himself in or that he was hiding in a friend's crib. Nah, he straight up left the country and flew to Dubai. So unless he crashes out again there and has to fly back to the US, he'll be a free man till the end. The same can't be said about
Wait, so if you do a crime in the U.S. and just leave, you can't go to jail for it? That's crazy, bro.
Richie Incognito. Because even though he had a similar trajectory to AB, one career-long crash
Hold on, bro. AB shot somebody in the neck? Wow.
out, nothing compares to what happened to him after football. But it all started before he was even in the NFL. Because back at Nebraska, he was a bomb waiting to go off. He was bulldozing defenders way after the whistle, talking trash to refs, and even throwing hands with teammates. And as Richie racked up ejections like they were trophies, skipped mandated anger management programs, the school eventually decided they had enough. But the NFL was still willing to give him a shot. And honestly, what a smooth-brained decision that ended up being. Because in the NFL, he wasn't just known, he was legendary for being dirty. And consistently showed up in the top 3 dirtiest players list every single year. Dude was gouging people's eyes out, dishing out late hits, and getting into scuffles every game. But on the field, out-of-pocket contact was just the beginning of Richie's downfall. He could have shrugged off the flags, fines, and ejections till he dropped. But the first real nail in the coffin? Bullygate. See, during his time on the Miami Dolphins, he was teammates with Jonathan Martin, a black player. And even though race normally wouldn't matter, in this case, it was the entire conversation. Because in 2013, Martin accused Richie of relentless, brutal harassment, including violent threats against Martin's mother, himself, and an unbelievable amount of NFL and fans alike were skeptical, and then everything got made public.
Hey, what's up? You half piece of shit. I saw you on Twitter. You've been training 10 weeks. I want to come in your mouth. I'm gonna your mouth. I'm gonna slap your real mother across the face. You. You're still a rookie. I'll you.
Sounds like an average COD lobby to me. And according to Shannon Crowder, that's just how Richie was.
He is a guy that needs to know his place with you. He tries to test you to see if you have enough manhood, if you have enough testosterone to put that line in the dirt. To tell him, Richie, you're gonna go so far with me, and then I'm not gonna deal with it anymore. I don't know if Jonathan Martin ever put that line in the dirt or if he knew he was getting tested.
Fair point, but I like Shannon Sharp's take better.
This tells me everything I need to know about the Miami Dolphins locker room. How we got here and why we got here. Because so many people, if you don't understand it, because I'm 45, I grew up in rural South Georgia. Maybe I'm a disconnect with me, JB. Maybe it's me. Just ask your parents, ask your grandparents, the mountain that they climbed so a black person in America could have respect, could have dignity, and you allow this in an open locker room to take place is unacceptable.
Exactly. And when that's supposed to be your brother, things obviously hit different. So Richie was suspended, shamed, and exiled from the league. But if you thought that was rock bottom for him, you don't know Richie. In 2018, when he was well out of football, he was found by police raging inside a gym. This 300-pound monster was throwing weights, yelling about top-secret NSA missions, and scaring everyone so bad, they put him on a 72-hour psychiatric hold. That was just the warm-up. Richie's final crash out had him one step short of pulling an OJ. Because when his dad died later that year, he lost all grip on reality and crashed out like no one else on this list. This dude walked into the funeral home not to say goodbye, but to explode with rage. He was punching the walls, throwing over caskets, and yelling at employees. But the craziest part? He demanded the staff to cut off his dad's head for, in his own words, research purposes. When they understandably said no, he threatened to kill them all with guns in his truck. Someone thankfully called the cops, and they arrested him in the parking lot after confirming he did indeed have a lot of guns in his truck. Richie went from college fights to dirty player dominance to locker room scandals to public breakdowns. This man probably just got bullied for being fat growing up and decided to crash out on the entire world.
That was a heavy end. That's why you need God, bro. Real talk, you need Jesus Christ in your life, man. That's what you need, bro. Because all that hatred and things he had in his heart, not only that, too, you need therapy. You need to check on your mental health. You need to take these things serious, bro. You don't know what he had going on, man. That is sad, bro. Hey, put Richie in your prayers tonight, man. Even though he did some bad things, you can never, just, who are we to judge, bro? We can't condemn him. He definitely needs some prayer because that man is going through it, dog. He lost his dad, and yeah, bro. He's not all the way there, bro. That's sad. That was sad. Wow. I did not think this was going to turn into a sad video. I thought it was going to be people just fighting and stuff. But hey, that is a crash out. He did definitely crash out. Indeed, the most out of anybody else. And guess what? Tyreek Hill wasn't on his list. My freaking dog, man. Shout out Tyreek, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like a lot of people be, you know what I'm saying? Like, as far as in football, bro, on the field, I don't think he crashes out in football, bro. Like, especially with everything going on with Tua right now, I think he's just upset because he's not really getting the ball. And he feels like his quarterback isn't, playing to the best of his ability. So when it comes to Tyreek on the field, I don't think he's a crash out, bro. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's why he didn't make this video. But AB did. But hey, that man retired and took his clothes off in the middle of a game. So there's no way that he would not make a list like this. But yeah, man, hey, I'm gonna see y'all boys in the next one. I love y'all so much. Hey, make sure you always put God first. Remember that you are chosen, so move like it. I love y'all. See y'all in the next one, man. Peace.